Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to ChiefsBlitz.com YouTube podcast with your host, Nick Athan, Andre Tillman, and producer Hense Todd. They'll break down the three-time Super Bowl champions as only they can do. Here's your host, Nick Athan.
Welcome back. What happened?
Go.
Are we live? Is it working? Yes.
Yeah, we live.
Oh wow, that was weird.
All right,
that's about how well the Chiefs played last night. So they glitched, we glitched. Hey, welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Chiefs Blitz Podcast. I'm your host Nick Athan with Hense Todd, Andre Tillman, and boy, last night, guys, that just sucked. I'm so glad we didn't do the show last night. I kind of put the kibosh on it. I thought, you know what, emotions are high. We're not going to look at this game objectively and wake up this morning and it's like, oh, my God, did we really witness that last night? But good to be back with everybody. Thanks again, everybody who's been reaching out to us, who's enjoying the show. And first off, guys, how we doing this morning? The sun's out, right?
Well, I'm balanced, I would say. You're very balanced. I'm optimistic on what I've seen last night. I feel like, okay, I'm going to just say it, man. I feel like the start I wanted to see wasn't out there. I don't care. He wasn't out there. So,
well, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling very, very great. I think the Chiefs did well. We only lost by 1 point. I think a lot of Chiefs fans are going ballistic right about now, disrespecting the champs, and a lot of bandwagon fans out there, a lot of couch reporters. You know what I mean? They out here is not just banging on the keyboard, just making up anything. It just seems like I'm optimistic about it. I'm like, okay, these are new receivers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all new tackles. Everybody got to gel it together. It's going to take a time, and everything's not going to be pretty in the beginning. But when the ball start rolling, it's going to start rolling, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on. Let me stop you right there, Mr. Bowtie. Okay, you putting too much sugar on these cornflakes. All right. So I'm gonna say this.
Man likes his cornflakes. Come on, give me a break.
Too much sugar ain't gonna do it.
Oh,
you need just enough. So
right, whatever, Jay.
I'm gonna say this. Real quick, and I was discussing with Bowtie last night. The hype train was so real for Justin Ross. From the workout, coming back from injury, the OTAs, preseason, the hype was real. We seen the separation in preseason. We seen the potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my man only had one target. One target on it? Really? You put Sky Moore in? I like Watson, but Watson? No Justin Ross? Really? And you give everybody else more targets? Come on, that to me is very is unacceptable. I didn't like that.
Right.
I didn't like.
Well, I don't. I listen. The receiving core was a question mark going in. There were issues. There were not enough big game experience, and when the Chiefs were rolling offensively, it was Watson and it was MBS that carried the second quarter surge. Had that continued in the third and fourth quarter, maybe it's a different game, but the Lions took those guys out, but the Chiefs were putting some really weird personnel in at the receiver core.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to figure everybody out, but exactly. I know everybody said that they guy, but my guy was Rashee Rice. I was like, he dropped one pass, but he was doing positive things. Give him the ball more. But it seemed like they was trying to get it's for me. What I told Drake last night as we watched the game, I told him, I said, it seems like Kadarius Toney, he missed the preseason and they trying to give him, all the reps he can get to get caught back up. And speaking of Kadarius Toney, guys, what's your thoughts on him yesterday?
Listen, Kadarius Toney, to me, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if they come up with injury. I don't care. I don't care. because you're supposed to go out there and produce. You went out there and laid a goose egg when they needed you the most to be clutch. You failed. Mahomes put the ball right there. You end the game, touchdown. We're not having this conversation. Right. Period. And then the ball comes off your hands into an interception. Brian Branch made a great play, great instincts by Branch. But at the same time, that was your catch. Off your hands, sir. Off your hands. So two of the biggest plays in the game came from who? Kadarius Toney. We can't condone that. I'm not even worried about Kadarius Toney. Let him go. Let that man go. We got other weapons out there for Kansas City that can step up and play. Let him go. We can't be doing this with this guy. He's an injury prone.
I'm not.
Wait.
No. I'm not gonna sit there and let you just
so much to the team. But
I'm not gonna say that take like that.
You could put Rashid Rice out there. You can put Justin Ross. Heck, Sky Moore.
Right.
But, come on, it's unacceptable. We can't keep So yeah, I'm very upset with that. But everything else that Mahomes was doing was great. It was balanced. As you can see, he was wide open. Andy Reid called a great call. He was wide open. So yeah, I'm disappointed in that. I'm very disappointed in Kadarius Toney. Very.
What's your take, Nick? What you say?
I mean, he struggled. I think you hurt your knee, have surgery the first day of camp, basically. You had a good week of prep. From all accounts, he was doing everything that he was doing last year. He came out and he just wasn't game ready.
Right.
He was doing something he never did last year. He was peaking. He was turning a hit on the interception. He turned his head, lost sight of the ball, tipped, 46-yard touchdown. Detroit ties the game. That changed the game we kind of knew what was going to happen after that.
Right.
And, on the one play, in the fourth quarter, after the defense makes the stop, same thing. He just he was looking ahead. He probably would have scored a touchdown. It was that wide open. And Mahomes went for him. He could have gone underneath to MVS. Probably would have been a completion. But, they're all trying to get Kadarius Toney because they view him as the number one receiver. And listen, I'm not gonna crap on the guy for one bad game. It happens. It happens to Kelce. Look at Kelce against the Colts. Last year he dropped a couple of big plays. So I mean, these things happen. And I believe in his talent. I know the Chiefs believe in him. I think he'll learn from this. And I think we talked before the show. He shut off all his social media. He doesn't want to hear this crap anymore. He just wants to go out and play football. He's probably going to come out scorched earth against the Jacksonville Jaguars next week in what is now a must-win game for Kansas City. But I think they put a little too much pressure on him, and I think the rotation of receivers was very questionable last night. At some point, if you're going to carry 7 receivers, you got to go with the hot hand. And if you got a guy that's not hot and drops and is not focused or is worrying about getting hurt or whatever the situation be, you got to go with the hot hand. And that's not something Andy Reid has done a lot with his receivers. But last year, he had Juju, a veteran. Obviously he had Kelce, and everybody else has kind of filled in and did their role. But Kadarius Toney's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm not into all the gloom and doom. The season's over. The dynasty's over. Like Foxworth character on ESPN. Give me a break. It's 1-point loss where the Detroit Lions played the best possible game that they could play to win by a single point. In any given play, the Chiefs could have made one of less 7 mistakes, and they win this football game. So give the Lions credit. They're an up-and-coming team. It's a huge moniker win for them. But I don't. This game does not fall on the drop catches of Kadarius Toney solely. It falls on a lot of things like the calls and the offensive play calling on third and short, and was just atrocious all night long. So I put more into that than I do with the Toney drops.
So with the Toney being all the drops, my big take is Rashid Rice. Rashid Rice should have been used more. And like you said in the play calling, I feel like he should have been used more. I feel like my take, I think, the defense, they played a good game, but Rashid Rice should have been used more. What you guys think about that?
Man, listen, I'm gonna say this about Rashee Rice. Me looking at the stats right now with Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, 5 targets for 3 for 29 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's been targeted 5 times. Right? He got the same amount of targets as Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney had 5 targets, 1 catch for 1. Unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Like, put your big guys out there, right? Your chain movers. I want to see Justin Ross go out there one-on-one. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Detroit's secondary was so washed. It's not the best secondary in the league, right? Cool. Put Justin Ross out there, right? Let him eat on this secondary. I want to see that. Since the secondary ain't that good, let Justin Ross get his feet wet, right? Targeted him, right? So if y'all look at the offense, to me, the offensive line played okay, but we're not gonna sugarcoat it because Taylor was getting beat all night. They had to chip away on Hutchinson a few times. They beat him up. They beat him up.
He didn't give up no sack.
They beat him up, man. They punched him in his gut. They slammed him on the ground. They double teamed him, man. You know, and
hey, that's what you're supposed to do.
Whatever. They ain't beat him, man. They razzed Hutchinson aside. They beat him up, man. But that shows me that, okay, Taylor, simple, man. It can be corrected. Taylor played okay. He played okay. The other side, the other tackle, played well. He played well. To me, Hutchinson was a menace. Smith was getting beat. I mean, he was very disruptive. I said, wow, it doesn't take nothing away from Kansas City's offensive line. It's just the fact that Detroit has a stud over there, has a legit stud over there.
Yep.
Or like Nick said, it was the play calling, guys. It was the play calling, man. I just didn't understand what they was doing out there. Like, it seemed like they was like still in preseason mode to me. What you think, Nick?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm going to go back to Dre's point about Rashee Rice first. You know, the last game we saw Rashee Rice, he had what, 4 drops in the game.
4 drops.
So the Chiefs are like, we're not really sure what we're going to get out of him. He has the touchdown in the first half. But, you know, he was on the field quite a bit, but they used him a lot as a blocker. He kind of took on that Kelce role, which is something that I suspected they would do because of his size. And, again, that's a lot to throw at a rookie. Here's a guy in college who's basically an outside wide receiver lining up in the slot as a de facto tight end and doing things that he's willing to do for his team. And, again, I think they learned a lot about Rashee Rice, and I think his opportunities will definitely increase. I think Justin Ross will get more opportunities next week as well. But again, I look at the play calling and I look at it and I'm baffled. They have had short yardage problems for 2 seasons now, and they corrected those in the Super Bowl in the second half. They just didn't run the personnel the way they needed to. And you don't run 50 yards wide to get a yard up the middle. You got 2 downs at 3rd and 1. You have 2 downs to get a first down. If you're telling me that Isaiah Pacheco can't get a yard on 2 snaps, then we're talking about a whole lot of other problems with this offense. But these guys are trying to make a big play instead of moving the sticks. Absolutely. Move the chains, take time off the clock. That's how you win a game like a grunt. This was a grunt game. You know, the Lions had all the grunts and the Chiefs didn't have enough of them. And that's the problem. Again, these are all fixable things. You know, I said this to you, Hense, before the season started. The only way the Chiefs lose football games is when they get in their own way. And last night they couldn't get out of their own way.
I'm going to give an example. Like I told Hense, why was Mahomes running so much? Was it a line? Was it the fact that could nobody get open?
I'm like, that was on Mahomes.
Because remember, Hense talked about Mahomes had a good pocket. It's plenty of times he had a good pocket. He did. But who was open to make where's the playmakers at?
Actually, man, that 4th and 25, I went back and watched it, guys. And I seen McKinnon wide open, going down the line, doing this, and Mahomes just threw it right up to Sky Moore and Watson right in the pile of people. I'm like, if you hit McKinnon getting that first down. He's already right there by the sticks. He's getting that first down.
He slides to the right. He slides to the right on that play. McKinnon, you're right. McKinnon was wide open. He's probably easily got the first down. But
are we talking about the Bengals? Are we talking about a flashback from the Bengals AFC Championship game when he forced the Tyreek Hill and underneath was it Kelce open?
No, listen, he's got a Patrick has an offensive line now that he can stay in the pocket, but he is so good on his feet and he's so good when he's mobile, and that's just part of why he's a great quarterback. And he feels like he needs to do some of that stuff. This is stuff he's going to learn 3, 4, 5 years from now when he becomes more of a pocket passer. But I mean, this is the evolution of Patrick Mahomes, and he's never had a line that. I mean, he was always looking over his shoulder with Orlando Brown back there, and Donovan Smith did the best he could, and Taylor did the best he could. But they were going up against a man possessed in Aiden Hutchinson. But still, I go back to the topic. The play calling was curious. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire introduction reminded me of the Greg Hill, Marcus Allen thing, where Greg would get 3 or 4 of the starting snaps and you never see him again. I don't know why Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on this roster. He brings nothing. He brings nothing to this football team.
He brings absolutely,
and he's focused in the beginning of the game. Those are crucial. It could have been a play action pass, throw the ball to MVS down the field. Instead, they're trying to feed this kid the ball, and he's just not a good running back. On his second run, watch the tape, watch the film. If he cuts back, he's still running as we're talking.
Right.
He has no vision.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Dirty Dan on defense. It's like
right now he is. Yes,
he's like that guy. It's like he got something on the Chiefs or something, and they just keep trying to play him. Like he's not that guy. Get rid of him, man. Like he's not that guy. But it ain't. But again, it ain't on Clyde.
No,
it ain't on the
running
backs.
I'm not blaming him.
It's not on the running backs. It's not on none of them. It's the receiver core, bro. Like if you got to get that together. We got to get that together.
Yeah.
Give y'all some Smith.
Speaking of getting stuff together, what y'all think about the defense and what you think about Chris Jones standing in the stands with the Mafia brothers?
I think Chris Jones to me.
Do you have the Sopranos theme music? I think you need to.
That would have been solid. But Chris Jones to me, I don't like Chris Jones' personnel. I didn't like how he did it. Kelce was down there with the team. If Chris Jones would have been down on the sideline, rooting his team on, and really been there, like supporting his people, hey, you got my respect, Chris Jones. I hope they sign you. When I'm up there, he's doing peace and all this other nonsense. What he's doing, I said, man, that don't look good. That's not a good image. It's not a good image. So from that standpoint, I don't like it. But the positive about this defensive line, what I told everybody, I was very impressed with the defensive line. They came to play, even though they got gashed for a little bit. But let me see, man. The Kalafis, if I said his name right, on the other side of the ball, he was getting pressured.
Mike Dana.
Yeah, he had a knockdown, was great.
And they should have played Felix more, man. 97, man. They should have played
good plays last night. I was really surprised.
And
I'm like, they should have played him more. I don't know who was number 94 on the Chiefs.
Donna got busy.
I'm like, why is he out there? Why? Dana.
Dana had a key deflection. I said Donna. Dana.
Yep.
So the thing for me is this. Like I told Hense to everybody, that defensive line is going to get stronger and it's going to get better with or without Chris Jones. They're going to get better. And I seen the heart on that defensive line last night. I wasn't really disappointed. But at the same time, when they play power football, that's what broke Kansas City down. That's when Chris Jones needed right there, because he in them situations, that's when Chris Jones excels at, right? But on that part, you can tell Chris Jones was needed on that part down the stretch in the fourth quarter when they start really power running the ball. I get that, but from that standpoint, earlier in the game, that D-line impressed me. That D-line did impress me. It did come to play.
Yeah, Melee Kaling was the guy we were referring to. Thanks to Brian Frazier for pointing that out to us in our memory loss, especially mine at my age. But I think you make good points. This defense overall, I thought I'm not going to say brilliant, but they were strong, especially without Jones. Forget the Jones thing for a minute. I mean, Derek Nottie, man, he came to play. That's the best football game I've ever seen Derek Nottie, and he's in a contract year, play for Kansas City. I thought he was terrific. He gives me hope. Mike Dannon, we mentioned, surprise. George Karlaftis played really well. Justin Reed was balling in the secondary. He was all over the field. That's the best I've seen him look in a Chiefs uniform. Nick Bolton, I mean, that blitzkrieg rush, to running over the running back was
Montgomery.
Montgomery's not a thin guy.
No, he's not.
He's got some girth and power to him. You look at time and time again. Yeah, did they make a couple of mistakes?
Forgot McDuffie though. McDuffie
played really well too. They had a little trouble with the tight ends. I'm a little surprised the rotation of the linebackers. I didn't see Drew Tranquill enough. I think that's probably something that's going to change. Willie Gay was probably the most disappointing. He didn't make a single play. He seemed lost out there. He was running around not knowing what position to be in or what the defense was called. That's a problem. And it's a good thing they have Drew Tranquill because I think he could step in for him. But overall, they held one of the top offenses in the NFL to basically 14 points. And if that happens every week, Chiefs aren't going to lose another football game. And we'll be talking about the opener next year.
Absolutely. Real quick, I'm going to go back to Travis Kelce real quick. Now, I evaluated the offense and see what was going on. Travis Kelce was very needed in that game. If Travis Kelce out there, he kind of load off the offense and the play calling on the sidelines, right? Travis Kelce is the one to where he keeps everybody calm. You can trust Travis Kelce. In the big moments right now, we want to have this conversation because Travis Kelce makes that play. He makes that play. He moves the chains. He keeps the engine going on offense. He keeps the engine going. That's why Travis Kelce was so hurt on the sidelines. He knows in that moment, he shines in that moment. So that's why, from my perspective, I see, he was missed very well, very well. Like the tight ends came in, that was okay. They made some decent plays, right? But at the same time, ain't nobody like Kelce. Ain't there's nobody like Kelce out there. But
next to Mahomes, he's the only guy you can't lose.
Absolutely.
End of statement.
I'm big on Justin Ross. I'm big on Justin Ross. I'm big on Justin Ross, but I'm also bigger on Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice should have had more touches in the game. That's all I'm saying. Like Rashee Rice, it seemed like when they got closer to the red zone, that's when they was putting in like Rashee Rice and Justin Ross. But when they was in like longer distances, they was putting in Watson, Scott Moore, Tony, and MVS. But I'm saying let the young guys eat just like you let the young guys eat on the cornerback position.
Last year, you're right.
Last year, if you let these young guys, I put it like this: MVS is not going to be here, right? MVS, he ain't going to be a long time answer for the Chiefs. So you got to let Scott Moore, you got to let Tony, you got to let MVS. I mean, not MVS, but Rashee Rice and Justin Ross. You got to let these all guys get communicated. You got to get better feel with Patrick Mahomes. If you don't, this is what we're going to run into every game. We're going to run into this every game.
Listen, what you just said, I love your answer. What you just said, sir. That's the only time I'm going to agree with you, sir. If you look at what the rookies did on defense last year, right? They came out there and they played some ball. You hear me? Same thing with the offense, man. Let them guys. That's why I was telling Bowtie yesterday. Ross, Rashee Rice, two of the most popular players on the team besides Kelce. Let them guys go out there and make plays. Come on. We know preseason. We hyping them up. That's what the fans wanted to see. The fans wanted to see those guys. They didn't want to see everybody else. They want to see guys, and they were disappointed. And I see why. And I see why.
It's not up to the fans to decide who gets out there, but yeah.
It's not Nick. Excitement. Just Ross. Why not, Nick?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you've got some really talented young receivers. Okay, this is their first NFL game together. This is like we saw glimpses of these guys, but they didn't play a whole lot with Patrick Mahomes in any of the preseason games. It was all the backups. And yeah, you can simulate things in practice, but I don't necessarily view what happened last night as the gloom and doom of the wide receiver core. It's just a learning experience. It's a pause in the excitement. And I'll share this story. I shared this story with you guys before the show. Going back to Tony for a minute, even though he played well last year, I remember a cornerback by the name of Kevin Ross, way back in the day, my era, one of my eras. There were many eras for me watching Chiefs football. But Kevin Ross was a 7th round pick. He was a rookie. His first game was against Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, and John Stallworth. Arguably 3 of the greatest offensive weapons ever to play in the NFL. He gets torched. I think 2 touchdowns, just got beat like a drum. Comes back the next week against the Oakland Raiders and has an interception, never got a pass completed his side, and his career took off. And so, you never know where it's going to come from. You never know what it's going to be. But, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see more Rice against the Jaguars. You're going to see Tony rebound. You will definitely see Travis Kelce back on the field, which will probably take some of the pressure off some of these guys. And what will be the Jaguars' season, the home opener for them, because I think they're on the road in week 1. So listen, tough night. It stunk. He probably feels the weight on his shoulders. He knows he let everybody down. Now we're going to find out what you said, Hense, what this kid's made of. If this is his takeoff point and he plays really well the rest of the season, no one's going to remember this Lions game. We're probably not going to remember it anyway. It's going to be this was the Colts game of a year ago. That's all it is. That's all it was. It ain't going to be a foul stench that's going to carry this franchise into the gloom and doom category going down the road. It's a stinky game. It's over. I'm glad it happened in week 1. Sorry that happened in Arrowhead in front of the fans, but this is the Colts game all over again.
Before we close out, I like to say this. We cannot, as Chiefs fans and as an organization, keep counting on a 34-year-old tight end. We got to see what the Chiefs going to do with these young receivers and this young core when Travis Kelce is not here. If this the case, if this is what we're going to put on the screen, put out there for the fields on the field for years to come, I'm not with it. You know what I mean? Because if we're gonna put all our eggs in one when Asian tight end and Travis Kelce, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that he's 34 years old, guys. He got about 2 years left in him, maybe 2 years. You got to let Justin Ross.
I think he's got 2+ this year.
You got to let Justin Ross eat. You got to let Rashee Rice. You got to start getting all these young guys. Scott Moore, you got to start getting them involved in the offense, or we're gonna have this take every game after game. Always had the same take.
Absolutely. Let me back off there. No, I want the pressure on Kadarius Toney. I don't care. Pressure make champions. I don't care. You take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, delete all your account and you get better. Because right now this is a business. I don't care what the potential is. If you're not out there, you know what I'm saying, the ball's in your hand, you've been targeted, like the hype's around you, and you don't produce, get off the team. Next man up. Yep. Next man up. That's serious. That's what it's about.
You're right. And the next men up are going to be these young wide receivers, and even Noah Gray, I thought played really well last night. So again, this is a stumbling game. There are a lot of reasons the Chiefs lost. Any one of 7 or 8 plays that they missed and they made one of those, it's a different outcome. But again, I think this is a learning game for everybody. I think the coaches, I didn't even listen to Andy Reid's press conference last night because I was going to say the coaches need to be better. I need to do a better job, blah, 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 blah. I'm so tired of hearing that. Just say, you know what? I called a terrible game. I didn't put my guys in the right position. That's on me. That's fine. We'll get better. That's all great. But you got to go. You got to go do it. And again, this is Matt Nagy's first time as the offensive coordinator, and he certainly is more involved in the offense than Eric Bieniemy was last season. So I think, and again, I don't want to bash people. I'm not going to go down the Eric Bieniemy road, but Matt Nagy had a significant influence on this offense last year, and now he's the guy and likely the heir apparent to Andy Reid whenever he retires. So it just wasn't a good showing by everybody, and I think they They just couldn't see. They waited for Patrick to make the plays to make it happen. And in the second half, he just didn't have it. You know, he panicked a little bit in the pocket. He moved out when he shouldn't have. He had guys open. You know, he was fixated on a few players. You know, he wasn't doing his progressions like that. And I think I read a quote this morning, something, you know, he feels terrible for it. You know, he kind of knows what the mistakes were. Go fix it, you know, go prove to everybody that you're not going to go 0-2, and Jacksonville's not going to beat you in the AFC title game, which is my prediction. The Chiefs and Jaguars in the AFC title game. So I think you just gotta learn from this. But, you know, if they're not able to adjust quickly, then going 0-2 is going to be really difficult for them from a psychological aspect of it, from guys doubting themselves to, hey, wait, we're a Super Bowl team. We're the best team. You're not talking about the number 1 seed anymore. You're talking about having to go start chasing people when you're already the hunted. And I don't know if that's a good combination.
It ain't. Right. You know what? This is going to be a big game with Jacksonville, because that secondary, this time the secondary is going to get tested coming up next game. This secondary going to get tested the next game. But I'm going to say this. I'm coming at Kadarius Toney because of the potential, because of what he have. Travis, we need it. The offense doesn't play well, but at the end of the day, as Kansas City taking this loss is going to be a building block for Kansas City, right? You see the miscues, you see what's going on. Because honestly, guys, Kadarius Toney was wide open. Now that's a positive about that. They called a good play. He was wide open, so you know it wasn't like the Detroit Lions defense was just crumbling, like they were just really just handling their receiving core. It was just the fact that these guys wasn't catching the ball. Timing was off a little bit, and Mahomes did have a good pocket, so Mahomes really wasn't used to having a good pocket. And also, that's how he plays out the pocket. Mm-hmm. But you said, Nick, as you get older, you got to learn how to stay in that pocket and make plays inside that pocket. That's just the nature.
Again, like I said, play the young guys. That's all I'm asking.
Got to play the kids.
If you're going to draft them, play them.
Yep.
Let them learn on the field. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they good in practice, but you got to let them learn on the field. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and close this out. We want to thank everybody for watching. We want to thank everybody.
Wait, you can't close yet. You can't close yet. Did I lose a bet?
Yeah, you did lose a bet.
Speaking of that,
see, I'm a man of my word.
Coach Bray's prediction was correct. You know, I try to be humble, but I'm not. Nick, you owe down on some barbecue. Whatever you want to do, Nick.
Next, Smokehouse Barbecue. That's it.
Smokehouse Barbecue. So, it is.
Yeah. We're definitely going to Smokehouse. Best baked beans in town, no question. I'm giving them a free plug here. They should be a sponsor. Yeah, no. I pay my debts. I'm a man of my word. I'm humbly defeated, and I accept your praise, but that still does not mean that the Cardinals are going to beat the Redskins this weekend.
Oh, shot. Oh my God. You know what we're going to do? My guys, all right? Rematch.
All good. All right. This is Nick Athan signing out for Andre Tillman and Hense Todd. We appreciate everybody. Go to www.chiefsblitz.com for the latest news on the Kansas City Chiefs and possibly a Chris Jones signing. Who knows? Got a feeling, got a hunch. That's all I'm going to say. I'll probably be wrong, but I had to say it anyway. Peace out, guys.
We out.